Worldwide movement, peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again for the Steelers Game Prep Channel. Steelers Nation, are you ready? Man, can you believe it? Up early, man. Sorry, still don't. It was a long night. I ain't even got my stuff on you. But man, really excited about this week. Can you believe that already this season is flying by and we're on week 3? Weren't we just like, oh man, we can't wait till the start of the season? And that quick, week number 3, Pittsburgh Steelers versus the New England Patriots, right? Doesn't have the old school pomp and fuss that it used to have back when there was Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and all that. But I will say, actually, it has been a little while since we beat the Patriots. And overall, Mike Tomlin's record against the Patriots, I think like 3-12, something like that. So I don't know, something crazy. It's not very good. Which is an anomaly because Mike Tomlin's record against most teams is pretty good. So I say all that to say the Steelers are certainly geared up for a win and looking to get back in their winning ways in general for 2025, and certainly notch a win for Coach Tomlin versus the Patriots. But let's take just a little bit of a quick look at what the two teams are sort of bringing into this week. Only 3 weeks accrued, but a little bit of tendencies we're starting to see develop. We're going to go over just a few things quickly that we've noticed so far. And like I said, this is setting us up on only week number 3, but it is week number 3 already, right? And the Pittsburgh Steelers are certainly in what many would consider to be pretty much not a must win, but a need to win, right? Need to win game versus the New England Patriots. And we want to see them again bounce back with a strong effort. Offensively, got to protect Aaron Rodgers much better. One of the more often sacked quarterbacks in the league. And we already went into this year saying, with a quarterback his age, we need to be the exact opposite, right? And have him be one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the league. So that trend has got to be corrected. Running the football still has been a very difficult task for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are either right at or near the bottom of the league yet again. Unfortunately, conversely, on the other side of the ball, when it comes down to stopping the run, one of the major focuses of the offseason, right? So far, still at or near the bottom of the league, right? So these are two serious headaches that the Steelers need to focus on getting corrected moving into week number 3 versus the New England Patriots. All right. Let's talk a little bit about this game. New England came into this game, what most would say their glaring weakness would be is their pass defense. However, they do this week get back their number 1 cornerback, Christian Gonzalez, which I'm sure they would say, anytime you get back your number 1 corner, that should help your pass defense. So something to keep an eye on and to focus a little bit in this game. What does New England's pass defense look like with the return of Christian Gonzalez? We know that in his absence, they had actually fallen to or near the bottom of the league in their pass coverage, right? So, again, an area to keep some focus on. Looking at personnel real quick, last week, the New England Patriots as one of their writers highlighted, only really ran two personnel groupings. They ran 12 uh, snaps, or excuse me, the 12 personnel, they ran for 26 offensive snaps. 26 were in 12 personnel, and 28 more snaps were in 11 personnel. So between 11 and 12 personnel, they pretty much lived, right? They either went with the two tight end set out of 12 personnel or with the three wide receivers in 11 personnel. Um, interesting. Interesting that they had that such an even split of only two, that no recorded snaps of 13 personnel, no recorded snaps of 21 personnel. Um, those are the four major groupings that we tend to look for. Some teams occasionally run 22, some other things, but that's what we noticed so far. The Pittsburgh Steelers, conversely, last week, um, they did run some of those other personnel. They ran 21, for example, for one snap. And they ran 13 personnel, three snaps, with the three tight ends, which I actually am calling for them to run more frequently, right? But certainly game situation plays into that. But between 11 and 12 personnel, they actually lived in a lot, or most frequently as well. With more of a lean toward the 12 personnel, they went for 26 snaps, and 11 personnel, 23 snaps. And I would say, at least in the Pittsburgh game last week, that the fact that they were behind a lot in the game, right? Due to some early turnovers and mishaps and some early problems on defense that actually continued through the game. They found themselves behind a lot, and that probably accounts at least a little bit for the increased frequency of 11 personnel, right? All right. So that's just a little bit about the personnel groupings. Through the two games so far in the season, the Steelers have run, or excuse me, on third down conversions, have been successful 9 out of 25, not even 50%, right? Only 9 out of 25, or excuse me, yeah, 9 out of 25 third down conversions. The New England Patriots, conversely, had 11 third down conversions out of 26. A little bit higher clip for them. Fourth down, the Steelers only went for it twice on fourth down. They converted once. The Patriots, conversely, had two fourth down conversions, both successful. In terms of running the ball, the Pittsburgh Steelers so far this year, folks, I already said that they're very close to, if not at the bottom of the league, with only averaging 3 yards per carry. Horrible, folks, horrible. 3 yards per carry is all the Steelers are averaging rushing the ball. The Patriots are a lot more healthy running the ball, probably not where their coaches would say they'd like to be, but a lot better than the Steelers at 3.9, almost 4 yards a carry. So certainly, again, much better than the Steelers. Passing, the Steelers are, close to the middle of the league, probably just slightly under the middle of the pack, at 7.1 yards per pass play. And for the New England Patriots, a little bit more healthy again at 7.5 yards per play, in terms of passing plays. So that's just a rough look at what each team is bringing to the table offensively. The Steelers, of course, with Aaron Rodgers, well decorated, and so far actually having a good season. I'd say the only problem with A-Rod is that he's not getting protected. Other than that, I'd have to say he's having actually a really good season, showing that he certainly still has it, in my estimation. But you got to protect the man, right? Um, and Drake May so far, second year quarterback has really shown a lot of growth. I believe second or third year. I think second year quarterback. It's still showing growth and exhibiting his potential and is on a good trajectory so far, right? And is doing well for himself so far this year. We'll see if the Steelers can maybe confuse him with some of their coverages, but quite frankly, with a lot of the injuries that they have, that might be difficult. They might actually be forced into some more vanilla looks, and they're just going to have to win their battles, right? The Steelers are going to have to, out of the defensive line, get more defeating blocks, right? So that those offensive linemen are not getting up to the second and third level and getting pads on linebackers and sometimes even DBs. We can't have that. And also, we've got to see some more production in the pass rush, right? We've got to have that, and certainly tackling is a big thing. If we can shore up our tackling, everything else goes down, especially the run defense gets that much better. And those yardage gained by the opposing backs go down. If we see much better tackling, because we've seen several instances where the Steelers have actually had running backs caught in the backfield, right, for a loss and have not wrapped up and tackled well, which has translated into big gains out of something that actually should have been negative yardage. So if they shore up their tackling, get into some or more discipline in their run fits, I think that really we can see a huge jump out of this defense, especially in the run defense and in the defensive production overall. All right. So far, the Steelers have only managed 3 sacks this season. So that alludes to the fact that we need a lot more production in the pass rush department, right? And have again been toward the bottom of the league in the run defense. They've only gotten 2 interceptions so far. Look for that number to increase. Even though Joey Porter will be out yet again, they still got other guys in there. Brandon Echols stepping in is certainly more than capable. For New England, defensively, they still, aside from the pass defense suffering mightily with the absence of Christian Gonzalez, and he's actually returning today. Like I said, they were toward the bottom of the league in their pass defense, but have been toward the top of the league in their pass rush. They've been able to generate a lot of heat on the quarterback, and I believe they're actually leading the league with 9 sacks so far. So 3 times the amount of sacks that the Steelers have. So that's a little bit of what we're looking at both teams for in the defense, and overall what each team is sort of bringing into a little bit of a peek into the tendencies and some of the ways that they've been leaning heading into this week's matchup with the Pittsburgh Steelers facing off against the New England Patriots in week number 3. All right, folks, sort of an abridged show. We're going to try and get a more robust offering of statistics and tendencies for you next week. And maybe even get the show put out a little bit earlier next week. But I thank you all. Week number 3 in 2025, the NFL season, with the Pittsburgh Steelers squaring off against the New England Patriots up in Foxborough Stadium. This is Big King Sadiq for Steelers Game Prep, Steelers Nation. Ride with me. All right. Thank you. I love you all. Big King Sadiq. Out.